Moving to Florida comes with some major surprises, and I learned that firsthand. After living in Texas and then making the move, I quickly realized that the lifestyle, the weather, the people, everything is different. Today, I'm breaking down the biggest culture shocks that come with moving to Florida, and trust me, stick around until the end because there's one thing that I had no idea about until I was already here. Florida's heat is different. It's not just hot, it's really humid. In Texas, the summers are brutal for sure, but it's at least a little bit more of a dry heat. In Florida, the moment you step outside, especially in the summer, you're hit with a wall of humidity that makes it feel like you just walked into a sauna. Even at night, that thick, sticky air doesn't really go away. The rainstorms in Florida also caught me off guard. In Texas, storms usually roll in and stick around for a while, but in Florida, it can be sunny one minute and pouring rain the next, only to clear up 15 minutes later like nothing ever happened. That unpredictability is something that you just kind of have to get used to. And then there's the difference between hurricanes and tornadoes. Texans are no stranger to tornado warnings, but hurricanes are a whole different beast. Hurricane prep is just part of life here in Florida, boarding up windows, dealing with evacuations, and knowing that at any point during hurricane season, you might have to drop everything and prepare. It's a slow-moving storm, but the buildup and aftermath can be way more devastating than you realize. Florida drivers are something else. If you think Texans drive aggressively, Florida takes it to another level. Speed limits, more like suggestions. Turn signals, optional or really non-existent. And because Florida doesn't require annual state inspections, you'll see some seriously sketchy cars on the roads every once in a while. That mix tourists, retirees, and locals all driving differently makes for some chaotic traffic. The Southern culture in Florida is not what you'd expect if you're coming from Texas. Texas has that classic cowboy country Southern hospitality vibe, but Florida, not so much. Instead, especially here in South Florida, the culture is a mix of Latin, Caribbean, and Northeastern influences. You're just as likely to hear Spanish as you are English, and the food, music, and general atmosphere reflect that. It's actually really neat because it helps you get a better grasp how many different walks of life there are, traditions and experiences are out there that you haven't been exposed to yet. The biggest shift for me though was going from a land-based lifestyle to a water-based lifestyle. In Texas, everything is about wide open spaces, big trucks, and farms or ranches. In Florida, life revolves around the water, boating, fishing, paddleboarding, or just spending time at the beach. The culture is way more laid back, and even if you don't own a boat, you'll quickly find yourself on one if you make friends here. The old trusty Tex-Mex food versus the Latin food that we have here is a big difference as well. In Texas, you can get Tex-Mex pretty much anywhere, and it's always good. In Florida, Mexican food is way harder to come by, and even when you do find it, it just doesn't hit the same. Instead, the food scene here leans more toward Cuban, Puerto Rican, and other Caribbean flavors, which are all amazing in their own way, but definitely different than what I was used to. And if you love Texas barbecue, prepare for disappointment. Florida just doesn't do barbecue the way Texas does. Brisket isn't as big here, and while you can find some solid barbecue spots, it's just not really in the culture here. What Florida does have though is seafood, fresh, local, and everywhere. If you're into fish, shrimp, anything caught the same day that you eat it, you'll love the food scene here. Before we get into some of the biggest culture shocks that I've experienced, I wanted to quickly introduce myself. My name's AJ, I'm a real estate agent, so naturally I make videos on all things real estate here in Fort Lauderdale, and I also have a passion for showing you the lifestyle that you can live here. So no matter what stage of life you're in, what goals you're trying to accomplish, this channel is a resource for you, and I hope you stick around for another video. Now, the biggest culture shock that I didn't see coming, the pace of life is completely different. You'd think that because it's Florida, it's full of, beaches and tropical weather, that life would be a little bit slower. But in South Florida, especially in places like Miami and Fort Lauderdale, things move very fast. People hustle. There's always something happening, and it can be overwhelming if you're not used to that energy. It's not the slow, easygoing Southern lifestyle that you might expect. It's more of a mix between island time and big city hustle, and that balance takes some getting used to. So if you're thinking about making the move to Fort Lauderdale, I would love to help you out with that process. All of my contact details are in the description of this video. See you next time.